So a quick little video for you guys on a little lesson of continuity and neutral service in a house. So I got called to a customer's house because their lights were flickering. You turn the garbage disposal on and the lights would dim. Basically everything in the house was acting up. This guy runs a business and he couldn't even print. He couldn't even use his printer because the second he'd go to print something, the printer would shut off, the computer would shut off. Just that little bit of amp draw was enough to trigger it. And it was sporadic throughout the whole house. It wasn't some direct specific or dedicated circuit. So when I went out there, immediately I took my meter, set it on continuity, and then checked the continuity between the neutral bus and the neutral wire. And I was getting zero continuity because there was some heavy corrosion. And then I checked the voltage on the left and right or the left leg and the hot leg of the power, and I was getting about 140 volts on the left side and about 100 volts on the right side. So what that causes is when you have an unbalanced panel like that, 99% of the time it's your neutral wire. It's spread out right here, but I want to show you how bad this was. So basically you have two hot legs that run into your typical residential house in the US. So each one carries 110 volts, or usually actually about 120 volts, give or take. It's alternating current, so it's going to bounce back and forth a little bit. But you should be around between 115 and 123. That's a good range to be in. So your neutral wire is going to be your bare wire. It kind of acts like a ground. It's not a ground, but it sort of acts like one. And what it is it's the return power, the completion of the circuit that's going to run back to the station. So it's a big loop. So if that wire has resistance, like in this case, heavy corrosion, like look how bad this is. It's just like it's falling apart. Like this piece just broke. Just terrible corrosion. You can see all the aluminum powder on there and all the corrosion. This is 100% what the case was. So I had bad continuity between the neutral, unbalanced voltage. So the reason why it's unbalanced is the voltage is coming in. So together you get 220 and there's a left and right side. So when that voltage comes in, it has to be able to come back. If it doesn't come back, the difference, so the more resistance, the more voltage you're gonna lose. So the difference is either gonna go through the ground, or in his case, he had knob and tube wiring, or about half of it was knob and tube wiring in the house, which it doesn't have a ground. So they were taking showers and getting shocked, and there was about 20 or 30 volts, which is the difference that they were losing, was coming through the shower in the bath. And every time they take a shower, they get shocked, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. So basically, what this took was just running new service cable. I called the power company because a lot of times it falls on the lugs on the overhead wire, and that's the power company's responsibility. But we put load on it behind the meter base, put load, the neutral and the hots were even. Everything looked good on the meter base, so I knew it was between the panel and the meter base, which would be the service cable that runs in. So a simple fix, just run some new service cable to the panel, kept everything, in this case it was 2 gauge, so it was 100 amp service. New service cable, went and turned everything back on, and then everything was fixed. Just like that, real simple. So here's what some of the wire looked like. You can see how much better that looks versus, obviously it's spread out, but you can just see the quality and the corrosion, how bad it is. Like, look, this one just broke too. It's crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen entrance cable this bad. But I guess the point of this video is to show you if you're having sporadic surges and bright lights on one side and dim lights on the other of the house and everything, it's likely the neutral that needs to be fixed. And it could be the power company's side or it could be the homeowner's side, but either way, it's something that needs to look into, because that voltage has to have a good continuity of path back. If it doesn't, it's got to go somewhere. So it can cause house fires. It can ruin your appliances because it goes both ways. So if you have an unbalanced panel, let's say your left side has 100 volts or 80 volts I've seen before with a floating neutral or a bad neutral. So if you have one side that's low, you would think, well, the voltage is low, it's not going to hurt anything. And it actually can for motors and compressors and things like that. They need the right amount of voltage to run. If they don't, they're going to get overworked and burned up. On the flip side, you have the other side on an unbalanced panel, which is going to be running high voltage. And if that's the case, then you're going to damage sensitive electronics that are only rated for 120 volts when they're pushing 150, 160 volts sometimes, because the neutral's not getting its path back. It's kind of complicated, but it's also extremely simple once you understand how it works. So again, the point of this video is just to show you what a bad neutral can do and the issues it can cause in the house. So let me know with any questions you may have.